Alrighty, so I'm gonna try to quickly film another video here just to get it out of the way so I don't forget to talk about this. But um, so I have not stopped watching movies. I just haven't made a review on every single one that I've seen. Like recently, I've definitely watched some Christmas movies. During our honeymoon, we were like in a cabin and we watched some scary movies there. None that had to deal with the cabin in the woods, but stuff like Maxine and things like that from A24. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is the movie Gladiator 2. And I actually don't want to really review the movie that much or talk about it that much at all. I don't really have like a whole lot to say about that movie, and that's kind of the point. But I do have a lot to say about a movie like Gladiator 2. And I guess, to be honest with you guys, I have not seen the first Gladiator movie except for maybe watching pieces of it on TV or walking in and out of the room when my girlfriend, now wife, was watching it in the past. And so when I went to see this movie with my wife, like she had seen it before, or the first one before, and so she was kind of excited for it, but I really had like no expectations going into it. I just knew that it was going to be an action flick. It had Pedro Pascal, it had that dude from Ireland, and then it had Denzel, right? And that was enough for me to be like, okay, this could be pretty good. Um, Long story short, I think the movie is essentially okay. If I were gonna put it on the 5 point scale that I've been rating movies on for like the one shot reviews and stuff like that, I would say that the movie is it's like a neutral three. Um, Pieces of it could have been better, and that would have ultimately shot it up into like a high three or maybe even a four. But ultimately, this movie is just okay. And I have seen some discourse online about this movie, about how it was underwhelming for some people that had seen the first and that it didn't really maybe live up to whatever hype they had in their head. Or I've even seen the comment of like, I don't even know like that this movie was coming out and why did they even need to make this movie? This movie doesn't make any sense. Now, I haven't seen the first movie, so I don't know if the whole thing about his son being like set up as somebody that might make it like come back if he survives or something like that. I don't know if that was something that this movie just invented after the fact of the first movie. And so if that's the case, then whatever. But if they literally set that up in the last movie, then people being like, why the hell did they even make a sequel? It's kind of like they were going to make a sequel. You know what I mean? But anyway, I've seen some people say that this movie didn't really deliver for them. And I have to say that, I'm not one for lowering the bar or anything like that when it comes to, especially artistic endeavors. Like, we should be trying to get the best stuff we could possibly get. We should be praising the best stuff and just leaving the other stuff alone. But this movie is honestly not bad. There's nothing like crazy terrible that this movie does. That nothing so bad that you could laugh at it. Nothing so bad but not funny that you're just disappointed that you went to see the movie like big time. You might be disappointed if you were excited from the first one and this one ends up just being an okay movie. I think I can understand that. But, why 4 minutes in, why am I bringing all this up? We need movies that are just okay. Even if it is a sequel, and I too hate the fact that everything has to have a sequel today and that nobody's coming up with new stuff. But what you don't realize is like half the new movies are a sequel that could not be made because the first movie is well rounded, right? So let's move that out of the way. But we need movies that people can just, on a random Friday night, you're like, you know what? It'd be nice to go to the movies. And you look up movies, and if you want to go see an action flick, if you want to go see a romance, if you want to go see a horror film, like there's something for you in the box office so you can go and have a good time. Because going to the movies is not just about seeing the movie. I mean, that's 80% of it, maybe. But the other 20% is like the experience of getting to go, get out of your house, go somewhere, watch a movie in like the best possible way you could watch it with all the surround sound and stuff like that. You get the concessions, even if you pay out the ass for them. And, you get your icy, you get your popcorn, and you just sit down and have a great 2.5, 3 hours, 1.5, depending on the movie you see. I think that, not every movie has to be an Academy Award nominated flick for it to deserve to be released or to be watched. And I had a good time going to the movies when I went and saw Gladiator 2. Like, did I think that some of the characters acted kind of campy? Did I think that some of this movie was, could have been worse if Denzel wasn't the person playing the character that he was playing? If the characters themselves weren't so good at, I guess, like, if a gladiator Coliseum type setting wasn't already interesting, would the plot points of this movie really make a lot of sense? Not really. But I had fun, and that's kind of the point. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm with Scorsese, where I think that the Marvel movies are just like out of whack at this point. But those are like insulting because they're based on stuff that people like, and they turn it into they're based on a literal story that already exists in the comics, and you get people all excited and happy that they're going to see this represented on the big screen, and then you half-ass it and make it into some just giant media marketable garbage slop that everybody that will just go see every Marvel movie will go see. I hate that too. I don't like that either. That's why I haven't seen a Marvel movie since Endgame came out, because I'm just completely turned off to the whole thing. But I do respect the fact that we need movies for people to go see, and not everybody wants to see an artistic film. Not everybody is even like mentally in the right mindset to see something where they have to try to think about the themes of the movie as they're watching it or something like that. Some people want to just go and watch some slop. And long story short, I guess I'm happy to see that B movies are making it back into the cinemas. And while I wish that they weren't sequels of movies that people like, while I wish that they were new things so we could just go and point to that and be like, that Gladiator movie wasn't too bad, But when you make a Gladiator 2, you obviously like kind of bring in this crowd that gets excited for it, and it doesn't hold up. But like, we need to have these B movies. If we don't have these movies, like, nobody normal will go to the, like, normal people that don't have an interest in what's in the Oscars this year or whatever, like, they're not incentivized to go. And then all of our movie theaters, despite the fact that they're all owned by giant corporations and I shouldn't really care too much about them, I still want to be able to go to the movies. And if those theaters that are conveniently placed around me no longer exist, I will have to watch every movie at home. And do I have surround sound? Yes. Do I want to watch every movie on Blu-ray with surround sound versus the theater? No. There's a lot of movies I want to go watch in the theater. Okay, now I'm starting to rant. But my point is, we need movies that people can go and just see. And like, I have to admit when I'm wrong sometimes. In the past, one of my friends, who I haven't spoken to in a while, hopefully he's doing well, Jake Mayhew. Shout out Jake Mayhew. He is really in, at least at the time that we were talking about this, was really into Transformers movies. And I think they're garbage slop. And even the first ones are, but at least we were a kid back then, so it was kind of fun. And I like Shia LaBeouf. I mean, his stuff in real life, I'm not speaking towards, but just his acting, I like seeing him in movies. So, I can understand why you like the first ones, but he's talking about the ones that were coming out like just a couple years ago with like Mark Wahlberg and stuff like that. And I'm roasting this guy, saying like, oh, those movies are slop, whatever. And he used to always just say, I just like going and seeing an action movie. Every now and then I like going and seeing a big action movie. And maybe I didn't understand that as much until I started going and seeing just like whatever movie with this movie pass. And I saw Meg 2 last year, and I was like, okay, this movie is slop, and there's so much wrong with this movie, but I had fun going to the movies and watching Jason Statham kill a bunch of big sharks. You know, shout out to the sharks, but you get what I'm saying. So I think I've made my point. I'm not gonna keep talking, but we need these movies. So the next time you want to crap on like a movie that's just okay, just think like, if it fulfills a purpose for people, like if there was a need to see some fun gladiator movie right now, even if it's not the best movie that we've seen all year, like I'm glad I got to go see that movie. I haven't seen a movie like that in a while, and I do enjoy the setting, so. And I mean, there's some cringy references in that, but I'm not getting into the movie. So, but yeah, with that being said, I want to see more B movies in the theaters. I want to go see more B movies. These movies don't make a lot of money anymore because there's just nobody buys Blu-rays like I buy Blu-rays. So and there are other people that do it, but we're a small minority. So these movies can't really survive unless we support them. And I'm not saying you have to support garbage movies. I'm just saying that when a movie comes out and the whole purpose of it is to just go see some action slop, and you go see it and you see that it's action slop and you have a good time, but then you force yourself to have a bad time by being like, oh, actually, this movie's pretty bad. Like, that just doesn't feel based. Like, that just feels like we're trying to do something that is outside of the purpose or the intent of what was being presented to us. So, for the 10th time, with that being said, that's the video. I will probably be uploading more stuff about movies. I think I'm going to go see a movie today, and I am probably going to make a video on my thoughts on the first episodes that have been released of Don Da Don, because while I did miss the opportunity to see the first 3 episodes in theaters, I have now been catching up on it, and that is hilarious. So that's the end of the video. It's been nice talking to you guys again. Expect more videos in the future. With that being said, subscribe if you want to see more videos, like the video if you like the video, and dislike the video if you dislike the video. But if you dislike it, let me know your feedback in the comments down below. Otherwise, like, you're just screaming into the void. So with that being said, that's the end of the video. I'll catch you guys on the next one.